All right, folks, what is the Soccer Cookbook? It's like a Zen minimalist approach to effortless training, playing, coaching, and parenting. Right? It's what I wish I knew and my parents knew when we were just starting playing soccer, and I've kept on pushing the learning. So hopefully this will help you grow your game, have more fun playing, training, and just getting more joy out of the game. So the introduction, or the preface maybe, it's called Soccer Vacation, and all that means is that if players start developing the habit of bringing either a small ball, size 1 ball to dribble, or a ball on a rope, a kick trainer, or an RMT rope that's going to help them move and develop their coordination, timing, and rhythm. If a soccer player can challenge themselves to always carry one of those tools with them, they can play perpetually, right? It doesn't have to be very structured play. You can, right? You could be going to the grocery store, to church, to work, and anywhere that you could get some touches, just sneaking touches. I think will really help you grow your game, because you're doing it in a way that's very relaxed, and it just becomes a part of your daily life. So in essence, you're turning the world into your proverbial oyster. So I think that's the first strategy. That's something that I wish I would have embraced more, right? Carrying an RMT rope, carrying a kick trainer, and or a size 1 ball or a tennis ball with me, so that I could just always be playing. Now, there's 3 parts to the Soccer Cookbook. The first part, that's for players. It looks like this. Part 1, warm yourself up, right? Using an RMT rope. And the reason why this thing is so powerful is because as you start to swing it, right, your body's connected from fingers to toes. So when you swing it, it acts as a moving metronome. A metronome is a tool that musicians use to keep a rhythm, a tempo. So I noticed immediately that what this allowed me to do, or what this helped me improve, was my juggling abilities. Most and foremost, right? Because it started, it gave me the ability to whip my arms down and start to pop my knee up, right? So it's developing this explosiveness that you can't really, you can, but it's just so simple yet so profound. So this is one tool. This is just one tool that I wish I had access to years ago, and that's why I'm, you have to feel it to believe it, right? So an RMT rope, it's a soft rope, a little bit longer than you are tall, right? So I'm 5'10" on a good day. This rope's about 6 feet tall, but you could just tape it up, right? Tape up the ends with some duct tape, electrical tape, or whatever you have. You could use shoelaces, whatever. So just your ability to swing this, it makes your spine bend and twist. It improves your running mechanics. David Weck says, that the inventor said, if you could only learn one rope flow pattern, it would be this one, the alternating underhand sneak, because it forces you to do 2 pulses of balance on each foot, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2 on the inside and the outside of the foot. So this is part 1 of part 1, right? Using an RMT rope is like a soccer gym that you could bring with you all around the world, right? Probably cost less than $10. So this is the first thing that can effortlessly improve your whole game. So if you're a soccer player listening to this, I promise you, try it out. Right? Get yourself cheap length of rope. It looks It is what it is, all right? But until you feel the power, then you'll see, right? Start swinging it, and it'll help unlock your game. Second thing, right? Part 2 of part 1 is kick trainer, and why this is so powerful is because you can cram months of training into days or weeks with a simple ball and a rope, right? Each touch, you get immediate feedback, right? You feel if you strike it cleanly or if you struck it poorly, and you can get close to 60 touches in 1 minute, which means in 10 to 15 minutes walking around the block, you can get close to 1,200 touches. Clubs like Ajax, Sevilla, AC Milan, all encourage their players to use kick trainers, and I believe that this kick trainer is one of the most underrated soccer training tools ever invented, because you don't, especially for people who are just getting into soccer, you don't need partner. You don't have to have a wall. You could do it indoors. The ball won't run away like when you're trying to learn how to juggle. So for those reasons, it's just a great teaching tool, and you could just really work on your technique and relax, right? So it's effortless training that is really going to help you improve shooting, passing, first touch, and even dribbling. So I think there's a nice progression when you go from RMT rope to kick trainer. The next thing, okay, so we have options, right? From here you could go one of two ways. Well, you could go any way you want. These are just some things that are fun to do, and they're simple things. They're the fundamentals. When you focus on the fundamentals, you have more fun, right? So you could go from here. You could do dribbling sequences. So with one foot, you get yourself a ball. I kicked my tennis ball over the friggin' over the ledge, so I have to do it with this ball. This is the Tom Turnbull dribbling sequence. It goes like this. It goes outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. You repeat that sequence out loud. Repeating it out loud is key because it helps you develop that muscle, that mind-body connection, the muscle memory. It helps internalize it. So if you're teaching it or if you're learning it, as I'm speaking, you want to go nice and slow, right? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Nice and easy. Outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. Outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. And what this is going to do, the reason why this is so effective is because it lays down a foundation for your dribbling. It allows you to not have to think about dribbling. So when you want to start to evade defenders, since you've done the repetition, the sequence over and over and over, you're just going to be able to dance around them. The second reason why it's so powerful is because it combines well with other moves. I call it the Rosetta Stone of dribbling, because if you start to practice this over and over and over, you're going to start to go outside, outside, inside, outside, and then you could start to link it with other moves. So you can go outside, outside, inside, outside, scissor, or outside, outside, inside, outside, chop, right? So it lays down this groundwork in a very effortless way. And this was taught to me by Tom Turnbull close to 27 years ago, and I've taught it to middle schoolers, to high schoolers, to college players, and it's super effective. It's super effective as a teaching tool to help players improve their dribbling, because it helps them not think about dribbling. So that could be the third part, right? So we went RMT rope to warm up, then using the kick trainer to work on our first touch, our ball striking, and our passing and shooting. Then it's dribbling sequences, the Tom Turnbull dribbling sequence, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. Then the next step is it's the barrel game. So for the barrel game, the goal is to juggle the ball with different parts of your body into a basket or a bucket or a garbage can, whatever you have, any vessel. And why this starts to become effective is because, I'm sorry, not become effective. This is effective because players can start to compete with each other. And when players compete with each other, it kind of elevates, it makes it more fun, right? And not only that, players who are just beginning and advanced players can also compete with each other, right? Beginner players can use a bounce and start closer, while more advanced players can start farther away with a tennis ball or things in their hands. So for that reason, you can fit a lot of players. I would bring a barrel from home and I would put it in the center of the field, and I would have my middle schoolers form a giant ring around the barrel, and they'd have to juggle first with their right foot with the bounce, then left foot with the bounce, then both feet alternating with the bounce, then right thigh, left thigh, both thighs alternating, and then finally with any body part you want, right? So that's the progression, and it also helps players rapidly develop juggling because it makes it measurable, right? Because if I'm 2 paces away from the barrel and I know I can, and I get it in from here, okay, maybe next time you could go 3 paces, right? So if you just tell a player, spend some time juggling, some players lose interest that way. But with this game, you can compete with yourself, you can compete with others, you can use friendlier balls like balloons, or you could use unfriendlier balls like tennis balls and maybe even American footballs, right? So it's super versatile and a lot of fun. And that's the barrel game, right? So, and then, if players are at the beginner level, they could start with the ball in their hands, right? So a few paces away, not too close where there's no challenge, and not too far away, or else it's going to be maybe too frustrating. So you want to kind of get in a Goldilocks area of just right. And this barrel game is also going to help them take the ball out of the air in games and be able to beeline in a direction that they want, because they can start to orient themselves rapidly because they're developing ability to control the ball in the air. So that's why it's going to translate super effectively on the field. The last game for the player development section is 1v1 to cones. You want 2 cones, the tall ones, the ones that you can knock over, and you could put the cones a little bit of a distance apart, and then ideally with a small ball, you're playing 1v1 or 2v2 against an opponent, and you just got to knock their cone over with the ball. So this is going to help improve their 1v1 attacking, defending, as well as shielding. Also going to help improve their ball control and ball mastery, right? So if you're a skills coach, if you're a youth soccer coach, if you're a player, this is a format that you can do almost anywhere in the world and really focus on the fundamentals and just have a lot of fun, right? It's not the best soccer training in the world. It's what's left over from 27 years of thinking about this, right? It's the bare essentials that you can focus on and really grow your game, right? Really start to develop confidence on the ball and have more fun on the field. And I think beginner players, a lot of them think that what they're trying to do is get better. But I think what they really want to do is just be more relaxed and be okay with making mistakes through the whole process, right? Because once you can be relaxed and breathing, it makes everything flow easier, right? So that's the sequence. And keep in mind, you can have fun with this. You could do jug barrel game first. You can do sequences first. You can mix it up. Anything you want. This is just a framework for you to go to town on. So this is not a rigid Um, it's not rigid, right? Have fun with it. Have fun with it. Make it yours. Add, take away, anything you want. But in just speaking in generalities, you can go, well, Tom Turnbull, he would go ball mastery, dribbling sequences, barrel game, then 1v1 to cones. That was the format for all of his skills and drills classes, and he did a lot of other stuff too, but that in general, that's what the core generally looked like. So what I've done is, nothing special per se, just included an RMT rope invented by David Weck to help get the body warmed up and moving, flowing, and then using the kick trainer. So now when you start to combine all these simple, fun, and effortless games and tools, what you're going to get is smart training, and you're going to get better results in less time, in a relaxed way. So this is something that that someone who has, very limited resources can start to recreate, or this is something that if you have very limited space, or right, it's the bare essentials. So if you're struggling with dribbling, if you're struggling with finishing on goal, if you're struggling in 1v1 attacking, defending, if you're struggling with low confidence, if your first touch is poor, if your movement is poor, if you're susceptible to injuries, if you have weak ankles, right? This is kind of not a fix-all, but it gives you this foundation where you could start to grow your game very rapidly. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Right, that's the cookbook. That's the cookbook right there. It's the soccer essentials that you can start to internalize and then teach. Right, it's a beautiful circle, because when you learn it, you want to teach it so that you internalize it. Right, so if this can help improve, right, coaches with one-on-one sessions. This can help young players, old players, players just getting into it. This is a simple framework that anyone can follow that costs very, very little. So I hope you enjoy it. Right, this is a distillation of 27 years of soccer training. So I think about this every day. So I hope it helps, and reach out with any questions. Thanks for your time. All right.